Hi there, welcome back to the Mindset Check podcast. I'm your host, Misha McKittrick. This is a podcast where I believe that as you take time for a mindset check, you have more power than you think you do. And where we also believe that you can reset the patterns that are creating your life. Today's podcast will help you understand that you can use your brain and your inner environment in powerful ways to create your life. My goal for the podcast is not only to empower you with this information, but to introduce you to my course, Power Up, and to help you see how it would be incredibly beneficial to your life. The Power Up course helps you level up your life, no matter if you're in the mud and you desire deeply to get out of it, or if you're hoping to learn to access higher levels of what some call manifesting. I like to call it creating. I'll share with you all the details of what I mean, so let's jump into it. A friend of mine told me about a memorable Easter of hers when her family was all gathered together. She was young and the cousins were all hanging out and having so much fun. She has this vivid memory of her mom giving them chocolates. And all the cousins were eating them and enjoying them. And then her mom was laughing. And some of the adults were laughing. And it was a really funny moment, right, for them. And the kids, because the kids learned that they were eating chocolate-covered bugs. They were like these cute little Easter packages, and they were chocolate-covered bugs. And before they knew they were bugs, the kids were enjoying them. And then the moment that they found out that they were eating chocolate-covered bugs, the cousins all started throwing up and it was chaos. They were gagging and no one had any sort of reaction until they knew it was bugs. So drop into that for just a second and ponder the power of our brain, the power of what we know, the power of what we believe. It's incredible. A couple more things to really help you get into what the power of our brain can bring forward in our life. There's a study that's reported from the book, The Biology of Belief. And in the study, it talks about these patients, and they all had these complicated knee issues. They decided, just to see how powerful the brain was, that they were going to operate on 50% of the patients. And 50% had sort of a placebo surgery. They didn't have a surgery. They only had incisions. And both of the groups thought they had a surgery. And after recovery and rehab, both of the groups, both of them were able to walk and play basketball and all the things they were able to do before their knee problems. Does that blow your mind for a minute? Placebos, or, a patient receiving something for psychological benefit versus a real medicine. These were discovered by accident during World War II. There was a doctor, he ran out of morphine. One of the nurses couldn't handle that so many of the soldiers were in pain, and so she filled some syringes with saline. And she told the doctor, "We got more morphine." And the doctor had no clue. So the doctor gave the soldiers the shot with the belief, this is morphine. And he said, "You will be out of pain in less than a minute." And none of them went into shock. And shock from the pain. And 90% of them were out of pain. And it was all in what the mind believed. Our brain is so incredibly powerful that whatever we believe, we truly can bring forward in our life. Another one I want to tell you about is a study of chemotherapy that was done in England. And the patients were told, this is a very toxic drug and you might lose your hair. 30% of the people who received the fake drug lost their hair. 30%. They were given a placebo, a fake drug, and they still lost their hair because they believed it. When science shows us how powerful our brains are, it lights me up. And most of us live completely unaware of how powerful our brains are, whether we're using them to essentially get out of the mud in life or if we're using them to elevate us to the next level and to create a life that we never knew was possible. It's incredible what can happen when you know how to use your brain to create a life you love. I want to give you a little bit of background about why this topic became so important to me. Those of you that have been listening to the podcast for a while might remember in season 2, we did a podcast, my husband and I together. We did quite a few podcasts together. And there were 2 that we did specifically about our personal journey with anxiety and suicide and just really tough life things. And there was a moment, if you want to go back and listen to those episodes, feel free. They're episodes 27 and 28 in season 2. There was a moment in that story where I had a huge realization of Jake's anxiety and what he carried around every day that I was oblivious to. Ooh. And we immediately responded. Once I really understood, I resourced everything I could. And we dove into a healing journey with food and Chinese herbs and other things. Those were the most immediately beneficial. And they helped him. They helped him a lot. But soon after that boost, it's not like everything was just fixed. Like, he was better, but he wasn't better. Does that make sense? Like, he was able to sleep at night, and there were a lot of parts of his life that still felt improved. But he would still kind of wallow and hang out in those low feelings. And one day I heard Tony Robbins ask in like a seminar that he was doing, how many people do you know who are on antidepressants that are still depressed? And it immediately piqued my attention. And he said, that's because they're not taking responsibility for their neurochemistry. And I was like, what? Tell me more. Tell me more. Like, I have to know more. And I started to learn that we didn't need to settle for any parts of life feeling awful. Like, we didn't need to settle that anxiety would always be like this subtle hum in the background. I started to learn how it works to rewire a brain. I became a voracious student about the way the brain works and the way that we get addicted to low-level vibrations because the chemicals that our body feeds us when we're in those states are so incredibly addictive, so powerful. I started to learn that we can become addicted to stress. I started to learn that there was more to do with Jake's inner environment. This pattern is very typical of what happens with a lot of people in life. hard things happen, and then we get addicted to hard. We might even define life as hard. By the way, I went for a walk with my friend this week, and she said, well, because life is hard. And I just listened, and I said, and when there was a pause, I said, I would never say that. She said, you would never say life is hard? I said, never. I will never say that. One of my kids said that once, and I said, please don't ever say that again. She said, well, then what do you say? And I said, life is beautiful. Life is what we define it. And that's because I know the power of our brain and our thoughts. I'm completely fine with saying some things in life are hard, or life can be hard. Life can feel challenging. But just a blanket statement that it's hard? No way. I'm not training my brain to think that, right? But a lot of times people think like, whoa, like something hard happens, and then we get addicted to it. And when we get addicted to it, our body starts to create this pharmacy where the chemical releases and the subconscious mind says, life is hard. And so the subconscious mind, being the most loyal assistant that you'll ever have, says, no, life is hard. We need to look for more proof that life is hard. And it's doing its all computing and all of these deep level things. And then it presents to you proof and says, here you go. Life is hard. Life is hard. And it allows you to continue to believe what you believe. So essentially, the more that we choose to stay in the mud, the more that we are teaching our brain to access those emotions. And here's the big thing. The problem is that so many people experience that, and they might even glimpse at times that there's something else available. There might be times they sit back and they say, well, it's not true for her. It's not true for that guy. It's not true for this. They might have a little glimpse, but they don't know how to move past it. And so then they start to think, well, that's just true for me in my life. I've experienced more, fill in the blank, hard, trauma, negativity. And they think that it puts them in a camp where, well, their life is hard. And they don't know how to really let it go, so they continue to live there. And it takes effort to break a habit. The body likes to relive the emotion that it knows. So if you say, I'm the victim of an abusive relationship, or I've had hard financial experiences, or I was raped when I was young, and your body feels that emotion, again, it only knows how to keep feeling that emotion again and again and again. It's hardwired in your brain, and if you don't do anything more, if you don't teach your brain a new pathway, then you continue to attract the same emotions into your life. Your subconscious brain will find situations to allow you to continue to feel like a victim or whatever the feeling is, right? Because your body feels all that you train it to feel. And so there's a point in here where Jake started to understand that. I started to understand that. And then he would kind of pretend. He didn't really know how to move out of it. He just knew that being in it isn't where he was supposed to be. So he would be like, no, I'm fine. And yet he literally was carrying around this dark cloud, or this low level of yuck, because he didn't know. And that actually happened for a long time. Meanwhile, when I would see him curled up in fetal position in his bed, or when he was taking long showers, he thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get in the shower and really let my mind just relax and think. But the problem is that he was letting it think on wavelengths that were not serving him. They weren't helping him. They were woe is me wavelengths. And I knew something wasn't right with that. And I started to understand that you can't fake vibration and energy. When you're fake, there's still something that you're actually feeling on this vibrational scale of emotion. So if you think of life as like you've got these really high level emotions when you're feeling happy and joy and gratitude and all the good, right? And then you've got these low level emotions that are fear and guilt and sadness and anxiety and stress and all of those that are really low. And putting a smile over those low ones isn't making them high. It's only pretending. What you're really still feeling is low. So it's important to recognize what's really going on and then to learn how to move past it. Our nose is right above our mouth. And it's always been a wonder to me that we cannot smell our own breath. Doesn't that kind of blow your mind? That if you really want to smell your breath, the best that you can do is breathe into your hand and then try to smell with your nose. Like you can't smell your own breath. And that is the same way that our minds can function. We can be thinking thoughts that we're completely unaware of that we're thinking. Like we can be in those low woe is me thoughts and be totally unaware of it. Like, did you ever hear the song when I was a little girl? My mom used to sing the song, "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms." Okay, I don't think that's how the tune actually went. But that's the song, right? Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, guess I'll go eat worms, right? And a lot of times we sit in that energy. And we don't realize that we are reinforcing those beliefs, the beliefs that come with that energy. And a lot of times these beliefs or these thoughts that we're thinking that we don't realize that we're thinking, they can be given to us from the youngest of ages. I mean, they can increase and get worse as we get older, but a lot of times we learn patterns from when we are very young. It can be something that we observe in others. It can be something that we created that helped us survive. But the point is that we really should consistently be evaluating what our beliefs are in our mind, becoming aware of them, because it's really easy to let them go. But that's the yucky in-between that Jake got caught in. He didn't know how to let them go. He didn't know how to move into something better. He just knew he wasn't supposed to be hanging out in the yuck. Back in the 1910s, a composer, Eric Satie, came up with a then radical idea of music that was designed to fade into the background. Okay, the origins of background music. This is something that you could enjoy without giving it very much attention. Eric called it furniture music. Furniture music, the idea is like you wouldn't necessarily notice it when you walked into the room, the same way you don't really notice the furniture. It's just part of the mood or the ambiance. And today we know this music as background music. And it really does set a mood. And this music can be good for studying, working, or unwinding. It can be kind of have a little beat to it, or it can be really tranquil. And music carries a vibration. The music that's in the background that we set in our lives is so vital. It's actually really, really important. When I'm intentional about background music and the mood that I want to bring forward, I love it. But I'm bringing this up for one reason, because I want you to actually ponder what you think the background music is in your life. What are the thoughts and the feelings that you feel most? And we could even add that you authentically feel most, not the ones that you pretend. What do you actually feel the very most? When you start to become aware of what that music sounds like, that's when you can actually do something different about it. Like Jake being aware that he was pretending was the first step. And we can literally interrupt cycles or patterns. We can let go of beliefs that are not helping and replace them with beliefs that are. They're literally just patterns and things that we can unlearn. But we do need to know how. It's fascinating to me, the power of our brains and what we believe. Our subconscious mind doesn't care if the thought is true. The actual function of our subconscious mind, well, one of the functions, I should say, is to look for proof of whatever it believes. It's so powerful that it will bring forward whatever you believe. And so if you can learn to program it, you see this? It becomes your best friend. You become limitless, so powerful. When we allow ourselves to really see it, to really see the background music and what's going on and the thoughts that we're having, and we have the right direction or instruction, replacing what we don't want in our life with what we do is very simple. There's nothing to run from or to fear, to be scared of, something that you might have to face. It's so easy. It's so easy. Yes, you have to move through it. And if there are layers and layers and layers of something that you have buried under the rug, you need to bring it out. But there are ways of doing it that don't even necessarily involve using your tongue. You can use your body and you can do it somatically. There's so many modalities, but you got to move it or else you get stuck in it. You are spending your energy constantly shoving things down, and that is trying to bubble over. Your entire life is determined by the thoughts that you think. So it makes a lot of sense to take some time and see what you're thinking. What do those thoughts look like? What is that vibration that it's producing feel like? And most of all, I just want you to know and be empowered that whatever comes up for you, I want you to know that you can shift that. You can be in charge of what you're thinking. You can be in charge of letting go of your limiting beliefs and processing the different things that are in your life. And it's really quite simple. When we shift the inside and we have a different experience inside of us, the outside shifts. I was literally just working with a client, and I want to cry when she's reporting back to me some of the things that have happened for her. We've been working deeply about her releasing some things with her family. And she went to visit her family. And all of a sudden, there was nothing in the way. And the other people didn't change. She just cleared some things. And then they were no longer getting in the way of her life. All the stuff between this particular relationship that she has, it no longer felt yucky. It felt clear and clean and a place where love could be. She literally used those words. It felt so loving. Dr. David Hawkins said, "Our mind is so powerful that if we hold in mind a single thought, such as my relationships never work out, then that is most likely going to happen in our life." The corollary is obviously true. If our mind, by its decision, has the power to make negative things happen in our life, then it has equal power in the opposite positive direction. We can choose all over again. This time, we can choose the positive. We can cancel the old programs, and we can do that by beginning to relinquish the gratification We're getting out of the negative payoffs. The ways that we unlearn these things, the patterns and the programs that we're running inside of our brain, we offer all of that in the Power Up course. And the Power Up course completely rewrites your inner environment. In the course, we learn how to rewrite patterns. We rewrite the neural pathways, which are essentially the same thing. We create a different reality. We do this by recognizing what's happening, clearing limiting beliefs, processing past events and emotions that are living in you and contributing to your vibration in ways that you don't even realize. This course is about completely rewiring your life and what's happening there so that you can move forward in a different reality. You no longer need to spend time beating yourself up in your brain, telling yourself you should be thinking different, feeling different, or living your life different. All you need to do is to learn how to reset the patterns, how to rewire your brain. And then we can move into creating our life. Because when we clear things out, we make room for new. If you literally have one fridge and it is full of leftovers, and you come home from the grocery store, there's not room for the new stuff. And besides, I promise, you don't want the old leftovers anyway. Right? Once they've passed their prime, they need to go. Once they've served their purpose, there's no need to continue to hang on to them. And so we clean out the fridge and we put in the new groceries. And that's what we do in the course. We make room for new and we elevate. Because when we elevate our vibration, when we learn how to change what we're feeling and we teach our body those new patterns of high vibration, then we change what we attract because we're magnetic and we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. This is why manifesting doesn't work for people, because it can't just be a wish list. Like you wrote your letter to Santa. It can't, manifesting is not like, that's why I think it gets a bad rap. That's quite frankly like why I don't really love the word manifesting, because it's more than just saying what you want. It's creating. And it's creating from a place where you make a conscious effort to be in alignment with what you're creating. Like, do you understand that someone who's looking for a spouse could never say, I want someone who's kind and loving and supportive, and meanwhile, they are a basket case, they are negative energy, they are so mean to everybody in their life. Those two people would never come together. And the person that has all of that negative flowing through them, they could write the list of who they want in their life all day long. But until they become that, until they get their lives in alignment with that vibration, they can't attract it into their life. So if you want something new in your life, you create a new space. You clean out the fridge. And so we rewrite the programs, the neural pathways. We change the chemicals in your body. We literally change the chemicals your body releases. We clean out beliefs that don't line up. We process the things that are blocking us. And we do all of this so that we can experience a different reality. So that we can live in a state that is comfortable with high emotions and vibrations. So that we can be in touch with our purpose and what we're being called to do in life. It's incredible. And we use the most effective ways of elevating our vibration. We use our body to help us process. It takes way less time than when we try to use our mind. We use our heart to be able to reprogram the way that we feel. We raise our vibration so that we can attract and create a new reality for your life. And it's time. It's time to commit to yourself. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to who have put themselves on the back burner. They've put their emotional development, literally, and their well-being, everything on the back burner. It is so terribly sad. But because it's not the one that is the squeaky wheel, all of the priorities go to other places. And that isn't right. It's not right, because whenever we have dis-ease in our life, it creates disease. Whenever we are suffering, we are not living in a beautiful state. We're not having a happy life experience, one that feels crazy fulfilled and where we're super happy, where we're able to contribute to the people around us. And it's really important for us to be resilient and to be able to have healthy, strong ways of functioning in our life so that we can be there for the people in our life. Like, your transformation leads to the lives around you also transforming. And the stakes are too high because so many people are living in a state of suffering. If you were to think about if there's only a state of suffering or a state of living in a beautiful, beautiful way, beautiful feelings, beautiful experiences, all this stuff, and there was only one, would you say that you and your people majority live in a beautiful state or in a state of suffering? And if there's a high percentage where people are suffering, you cannot not afford to do this course. And if you don't resonate with this course, there are other options. There are other options out there. But I'm taking the very best of everything that I've ever learned and putting it together in one course. I've already taught this course in the past, and my clients have experienced extreme transformations in ways that cause me to yell and celebrate and put my hands up in the air. It literally brings me so much happiness. Here's a few things that some of them have said. Rachel said, "It can open your eyes to a whole new way of existing in the world." Anne said, "This is more than a feel-good course. It's the foundation for a feel-good life." Tiffany said, "It's the nourishment you've never had, you didn't know you could get. It has been the biggest blessing to my life. I feel alive again and excited for my future." There are so many more things that my clients have said, and you can find lots of testimonials on my website. My point in telling you that is that I have literally walked with clients who have been on the verge of suicidal thoughts, and they've come into living the best Christmas of their life. You can shift from being in a suffering state to a beautiful state. The other thing that you can do in this course is that you can simply learn how to just elevate your vibration in life. In other words, you don't really have to be in a state that is so low and stuck. You don't have to be in suffering. It's just that so many people in the world are. And so I speak to that. I've had plenty of clients that have been fine, but they wanted to unlock the levels of being able to create their life. They wanted to understand what it means to feel expansive and beautiful feelings in their heart and to be able to experience incredible differences in relationships that felt hard for them, etc. It's just something that can unlock higher, better levels for your living. And you also learn the ways that you can support the people in your life. You learn so much that you can help people. You can help your spouse, your children. You can help your family members because of what you learn in the course. And you can hold space in a completely different way. You learn how to really be there for your people. And your people need you. They need all the ways that you can show them that living in a different state is possible, both through what you model for them and then what you can show them. They become interested because of the way that your life looks different. Right now, I want you just to think about your pattern. What is inside of your brain when you think about money and investing in yourself? Just what's there already for you? And we can have a conversation about this. Like, I love doing discovery calls and just seeing, okay, let's evaluate where you're at. Let's see what you could get from the course. And let's see if it feels like the money exchange is worth it for you. Okay? Investing in yourself tells you the story that you're worth it. Grant Cardone says, your greatness is limited only by the investments you make in yourself. We forget to invest in our own growth, and then we wonder why we're not growing. And you can go read a ton of books, and if you come to me and you say, I don't want to do the course, I want to try to learn on my own, I will give you resource after resource after resource, but it will take you years. It'll take you years. I mean, maybe you're a brainiac and you can read at the speed of light. But still, the time that it takes to internalize and to understand and to process, and all of the experiences with meditation, all the things that I can show you because I became such a voracious student of this topic. Because I saw my husband carrying a literal ball and chain. And I said, no more. No more. I'm going to learn everything that I can so that that is not our reality. So no matter what, you are aware that this is there. Don't go back to sleep. Don't turn the lights back off. Figure out what it is that you can do to keep the lights on and live awake, to be conscious of the ways that you can change and alter your life. When you live in a more resilient, emotionally stable environment that is full of high vibration, everything's better, even your health. I had a friend this year, and she was having a lot of health issues, and she had some tests done, and she learned that one of the very first things that she needed to address was her emotions. Her emotions that got put on the back burner. They were after vacation, all of the lessons for the kids and their development. Like, by the way, when did we have to take a back seat for lessons, etc.? And some of you like go to therapy maybe very regularly. I have a whole philosophy about therapy. I think sometimes therapy can be great, and there are sometimes that therapists are very beneficial. But for the most part, my belief about therapy is that therapists keep you stuck. And I want to be very careful here because like I said, there are some therapists that are fantastic. But you know, and this is how you know, when you go to therapy, do you ever feel better? Or do you consistently feel like you are bringing up the problems and talking about the problem and the problem and the problem and sitting in low vibration? And also, at the end of the therapy visit, does your therapist help close you back up so that you can go back into the world with confidence and the ability to deal? Or are you left very vulnerable, very open and raw, and actually wallowing in those low vibrations? So you evaluate, and that's what I always tell people with therapy. Just pay attention. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. Pay attention to your vibration. And if your therapist isn't helping you elevate, then I would say it's not the right fit. So think about it. Let your mind turn it over and see what you really want. Here, what I can promise you is that your vibration will be elevated, that you will be able to clean out your life. You'll clean out the fridge so that you have room to create the life that you want. That's what we do here. Let me give you just a couple more details about what the Power Up course actually looks like. And then if you want to talk about it further, we can jump on a discovery call and see if it's right for you. Or if you already know that you want to sign up, then you can just click on the link in the show notes and it will take you right to the sign up page. Okay, but let me kind of go through what is included in the Power Up course. So there will be 9 lessons and they will be spread across a period of 3 months. There will be 3 group coaching calls. There will be meditations that coordinate with the lessons, and the lessons and the meditations will both be replayable. And then there will be also a live breathwork session, and that is level 1 of support in Power Up. Okay? So what I'm trying to do is create it so that no matter what you can afford, you can afford one level of support. So level 2 of support for this cohort includes all the things that I've stated, but it also includes one-on-one sessions with me where we can work through breakthroughs and clear limiting beliefs. There's so many things that we can do in the one-on-one sessions. And a lot of my clients will tell you that they had the greatest success in the one-on-one sessions. So that level of support is level 2, and that will be a different price than level 1. And then level 3, you'll get all of the things that I've already spoken about in level 1, level 2, but you also get Voxer support 1 day a week as we go through the course. You'll get 2 extra one-on-one sessions, so that's 5 total one-on-one sessions. And then you'll get 2 personal meditation sessions where I create meditations specifically for you and what you are creating in your life. It's really, really incredible. So I'm so excited to be able to offer something that would work for you no matter what level of support that you can allow in your life right now. So this is the offer. We're going to be starting soon. I would love, like I said, to jump on a discovery call with you and talk about if this feels right for you. And again, that discovery call is completely free and we can just spend time talking about the direction and what you need and what actually would serve and help you. Either way, don't settle for any programs that you're running in your life that involve I can't or it won't work or any of those, right? Because those become the definitions to our subconscious mind. And simply because of how our brain works and how powerful our brain is, our life becomes a whole bunch of whatever it is. Like I can't and it won't work. It's time to break through that and teach your brain something different, to completely support and have a different container to be able to teach your brain something different so that life can be something different. It's time to step into owning your life and creating what you really want that to be. And I hope that you see that through this structure, that the Power Up course teaches you that you have more power than you think you do. All right, my friend, I hope you have some really incredible takeaways from this podcast. I hope it's really clear what the Power Up course is and maybe what it isn't. And if you need more clarity or you have any questions at all, please feel free. In the show notes, you'll find a link and you can book a discovery call with me. I would love to have that exchange with you, even if it's not the right time for you to do the Power Up course. I would love to jump in there with you and help your brain maybe see more possibilities for you. Also, in the show notes, you'll find a link to be able to sign up for the Power Up course. I am thrilled to be able to hold space for you and to support you as we move through the next few months. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention in the podcast is the lessons. There'll be 3 per month so that you have time in between to schedule your one-on-ones, and it's not an overly hectic schedule. You'll have plenty of time to be able to process the information, to work within, the context and what you are given to be able to work through the things, it will be such an incredible container of support. And you will inevitably meet other people who are also on the same road, the same vibration, the same working out. You end up finding like these incredible places in your heart for the other people that are going through the program as well. It's really great. I'm so excited to explore the possibilities with you. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. And before I leave you, I want to share a quote with you by Alice Walker that says, "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking that they don't have any." It's time to check into your power, my friend. Until next time.